sitting down with Moriah Hunter, and she is another one of the ladies from the Rural Rooted Retreat. And Moriah is a badass farmer and rancher from Kentucky who literally does all of the cool things with her family in tow. But Moriah, if you would not mind telling us a little bit about yourself to kind of get things rolling.
Yeah. First, thanks for having me on here. I'm very excited. Hopefully I don't screw it up.
No, it'll be great.
So I'm from Kentucky. I met my husband probably about 10 years ago, and he had a few cows, and that's kind of why I married him. But we kind of grew our herd from there over the years. We've got 2 little farm boys, 4 and almost 1. And we have a cow calf operation, mostly Angus, nothing registered or anything, just commercial. And we do hay. We do a lot of hay. That's kind of our main gig right now. And hopefully eventually we can let the boys take over the hard part.
Yeah, right.
And we can just fool with the cows.
Right.
So yeah, we that's pretty much what we do. Hay and cows, that's what we do.
Hey, I like it. It's people may think like, oh, that's simple, but man, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yes, there is. And because I didn't grow up in agriculture. I grew up in this same area, but I lived in a subdivision. I was actually homeschooled. My husband lived a few miles away from where I grew up. And so, but we never met or anything like that. So kind of, I don't know, we're first generation farmers. It's his parents' land that's kind of been passed to us. And so I kind of was drinking from a fire hose and jumped in with both feet, and I do all the record keeping and all that stuff. And that's just kind of it's been a lot, but really good. I wouldn't have it any other way. I can't imagine working just a regular job anywhere. It's always something different, but I love it. So
yeah, absolutely. So the fact that you did not come from agriculture is like shocking to me, with the fact that how much you know and how much you do, and all, like, you seriously, like, you fix the tractor, you like do all the cow things. Like, it's crazy to me. How was that transition for you?
I was raised just working. I probably got my first full-time job when I was 15. Being homeschooled, I could kind of do that. And I just always, my work ethic, I love to work. I love it. I love to learn. I probably could have picked an easier profession, but I don't know. I guess just being around animals, and also being your own boss, and then just picking up things from other farmers is how I learned the most. Me and Trent both, that's my husband. I don't know if I said that. But we've learned so much just from going up to the local breakfast spot and sitting there with all the old farmers and drinking coffee. And we've learned more doing that than anywhere, because neither of us went to college. I mean, I took college classes, but it wasn't, so I didn't go to college for any of that, but I learned the best by doing, but also other people's experiences. I'm not a book person.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. It's been crazy.
Yeah. Lots of hands-on experiential learning type situations.
Yes. Yeah. And also Instagram.
Right.
I learned a lot of stuff from people on Instagram, honestly.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot of first generation farmers and ranchers lately who have kind of said, like, I learned from things online, which is kind of like, it's a really cool resource if you think about it, as long as correct information is being put out there, I guess.
Right. And you've always got to do your own research on things and whatnot. But there's more than one way to skin a cat. And farming is no different. I guess when we first started, I was kind of hesitant to share some of our farm life, as opposed to, because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're doing it this way. What if, not that my way's wrong, but like, what if they think different of me for doing it a certain way, or we don't have this, or we don't have that, or, but I think it's important to show all aspects, because chances are there's a bunch of other people out there doing the same damn thing you are. And they need to know that, I don't know. It's just,
Well, even just kind of like validating that, like exactly like you said, my way's not wrong. It's just different. And this is how we do things. And this is how it works for our operation. So if you do
Right.
things different, like that's totally cool as long as it works for you.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, yeah.
And the fact that other people have helped you, what's that experience been like being a young couple who's wanting to do things in agriculture? I mean, it sounds like they've been pretty helpful, but has there been kind of some challenges with that as well?
There's definitely challenges at, when people first meet us or see us or whatever. Of course, we kind of grew up in this area,
Right.
so everybody knows us as
Right.
the farming couple, we're the whatever. But it's been a little challenging, people like, I bale all the hay. I guess we'll get to that later, but sometimes we do custom baling, and it's just funny when I pull up in some old farmer's field and I'm in this big tractor and baling hay, and then this old farmer just comes up and he's like looking at me like I got
not expecting you.
No. And then they literally, this drives me nuts, they literally sit in the field and watch the entire time, and I'm like, come on, like
Yes.
But also I think it fascinates some people how young we both are,
Mm-hmm.
and that we chose this life kind of,
Right.
and but also that I'm a female and doing all this stuff, so it's been a little challenge, but also I think more it's been good for people to see that too, like old and young, because it gives the younger generation like, oh, maybe I can do this if I want, this isn't just something that old farmers do.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like with you sharing your story on Instagram now, well, social media in general, I think that opens up the platform even more for individuals to see like, okay, like that's pretty cool that she does all that. Like maybe that's something I'm interested in.
Right.
And how has been sharing your story thus far? How has that been?
I'm getting better at it.
It's hard.
It is very hard. I don't generally like to talk about myself. I generally, used to not want to share anything at all and just like live in my own little bubble and corner. And I was just fine doing that. But then I think that there is so much disconnect from agriculture in general and what we do. Like, I don't know, people, I guess, sometimes think, oh, you just ride around on a tractor all day. That's not hard work. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I might not be running around on this certain day, but just showcasing how much we care, especially with the cows, and how the lengths that we go to care for them and care for the land, and just showing that. It's been difficult, but like I said, I'm getting better. It's hard to know which parts to share and which parts to not.
That's kind of the part that I've been struggling with too, is just the fact of like, okay, would anyone like even care to know about this? Like,
right.
Why would anyone else want to know? But they do. And that's the part that amazes me every single time that I put something out there.
Yeah, I think that we get so used to our life and what we do that it's like the little simple things that people are like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, or that's interesting, or like, why do you do this? And I find myself constantly going, oh, maybe I should go back to the basics and be like, even to like, okay, with the difference between a heifer and a bull and a steer, like there's people that don't know that, and that's not anybody's fault, but I think it's our job as people in ag to go back to the basics and make sure that we are very clear on, I don't know, our job, and connecting them back to ag.
Yeah, just the simple building block. I always kind of call it the building blocks to success, as far as like those little tiny things that you and I may think like, oh, well, that's just common knowledge, when in fact the mass majority of people have no idea what we're talking about when we say the word heifer.
Yes, I know. Exactly. It's so true. So true.
And for you guys, I know you just talked about too, like people not understanding what it goes into the cattle side of things, and then like taking care of land. I know I talked to Amanda from Grandview Beef about this, but
Yeah.
like that's for like next generations, and people don't really understand that either, as far as, yeah, sure, like our family's using it right now, but I'm assuming, as long as your kids want to be involved in agriculture, like that's for them in the future as well. So it's not just right here and now, it's really thinking about the future and what all of that means, and making decisions for the future too. And that's really stressful.
Yes, it is very stressful. Yeah, it's not just for for our benefit here and now and whatever. And yes, Lord willing, I hope that both our boys want to be involved somehow, some way, because we've built all this up, and I would hate to see it, just anybody in the family to take over. But yeah, we really do for future planning. And you have to know, like, fertilizer and just learning how to take care of just all of it, so that the future generations have something to work with, basically.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my gosh, it's a whole nother subject.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned you and your husband didn't go to college, which I don't think is either here nor there, because the fact that you are able to, like, what you're doing from a day-to-day process is something you couldn't learn in a classroom anyways. But you are like a scientist, a weather person, like all of these different things in one job title. And I think that's what always amazes me about people in agriculture, is how they can literally do all of that.
Yes, we adapt.
Yes.
We are resilient, and we just adapt to whatever the situation is. And yeah, I've learned, Trent's taught me a lot how to just fix random things, little things. And then I feel like, oh yeah, I know what I'm talking about. But then I'm like, well, 2 days ago I didn't. So but I'm constantly learning, and it's crazy when you think about all the job titles we carry, pretty much.
Yeah. All the different hats.
All the hats, yes. Yeah. Like, was that your post?
Yes, and I didn't say that in reference to that, but now I'm putting two and two together. But yes.
It's just who you are. Yes.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I do want to talk a little bit about your cattle side of things too. So the hay, you said you guys do a lot of custom work with that, and then obviously your own stuff as well. Cow calf operation with Angus cattle for the majority, but like, what does that mean, cow calf, for you guys? Like, what goes into that? I know it's a lot, but
yeah, it is a lot. Oh my goodness. And we're honestly just getting that side of our agriculture operation kind of down, because we've been so focused on hay, because this is big horse country out here, so hay is where it's at.
Right.
As far as cow calf, oh my gosh, where do I even start? So we buy our bulls to breed our cows, and obviously I don't know what I'm saying.
No, but that's an important thing to mention, because sometimes, some operations use AI, some use bulls.
That's true.
That's important.
Yeah. So we don't AI or anything. It's an all natural service, and we actually don't have one large herd, because Kentucky is kind of so broken up. Land is hard to find, not just in Kentucky, I'm sure, but we have a couple herds kind of spaced out a little bit. But I don't know. So anyway, so we breed them, and then wean them after, I guess, close to 500-600 pounds. The calves. I don't know where to start. This is like a lot.
No, it is. And I think that's important for people to know too, is like, you can't sum it up in one neat little sentence. Like, it is a process, and it takes 9 months for a cow to have a calf. And during that process, there's other processes going on, and it's a lot.
Oh, so I'll start here. We have a 3-month calving window. So we leave the bulls in for 3 months, and we pull them out, put them in their own separate field. And actually, we just started doing that in the last year, because hay was so busy for us that we were those farmers that left their bulls in all year, and we just realized, oh my gosh, this is horrible. This is not working, because then you're calving all year long. It was not feasible. And so we bit the bullet, and we got it down. Newbie here.
No, I'm actually so glad you just said that, because so I have come from a cattle background, right? And now with my boyfriend Ty and I having our very big herd of 3 heifers here, he wants to buy a bull and just leave the bull in there with him. And I'm like, no, that's not how we're doing this. So I'm glad he said that, because I'm going to have him listen to this podcast.
Yeah, it was horrible, because we would be, because then, so when a calf is born, 9 months later, we go out and we tag them. So we put a tag in their ear for identification. And then we also, if it's a bull calf, we will band it. Okay. And then, so it was really hard to do that when they were calving all year long, because we'd be out baling hay till 9 o'clock at night. I'm not gonna get off work from baling hay and go tag for 7 calves. Yeah, or
with
whatever.
With the head spotlight in the field.
Oh yeah, no. Oh my gosh, if I'm gonna use a spotlight, I'm gonna go frog gigging or something. Like, I'm not. It's not. No. So it was just we were missing a lot of calves, and it was just too much. So we are getting our calving season down. It should be down now. There's still a few a few little things we got to work out. But it's so much better. So after we wean them all, and another thing about having your calving season down is that way, if you don't have a cow, if you have a cow that didn't breed in those 3 months and you don't know about it because the bull was in there all year, like, they're just eating your money away.
Right.
And so
if she doesn't have a calf at the end of the next
she's a freeloader,
then she's hanging out.
Exactly. Like, yeah, this is not a welfare office. But anyways, so after we wean the calves, they go to their own separate lot. We use a feed blend from our local feed mill, kind of local, it's about an hour away. And we feed them out until, it honestly depends on the market most of the time.
Yeah.
Some of them we keep back to direct sell, like just halves and wholes, because when the market was so bad last year, we really didn't have a choice. Right. But also it was hard finding butcher appointments, so that was kind of a weird balance. But we just kind of do a little bit of everything, and honestly it just goes by the market and depends. So we do feed them out, we background them as long as we can, and then take them to the stockyards usually. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So there's another thing that Amanda and I kind of talked about, is having different facets of your businesses, right? And so that's important, because like 2020, you never know when things are going to go south and all the plants are going to be closed. So the fact that you guys have that whole direct side of things, and then the stockyards and all of that, is good to have a well-rounded business for sure. Yes.
You never know when people need food, are going to need food, and getting it from their local farmer is, that's what people want to do anyway. And I think people are realizing that more and more, that maybe we should depend on our local farmers now, because they didn't let us down last year.
Yep. They fed us through the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
They were still essential.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Still went to work every day.
Yes. No days off.
No, except today, because it's raining.
Yeah, because it's raining.
Right. Oh yeah. There's just so many different aspects. And that's why I get tied up just trying to talk about, we have cows and we do this, because it's just, there's a little bit of everything, we get them up, we worm them twice a year, we got to put mineral out for them, we got to do this and that, and it's constantly, it's always something.
Yep. You got to check.
God forbid they get sick.
Yeah, you got to check them every day and make sure there's no one sick, and then someone is sick that you missed, and that spreads to the herd, and it's just a never-ending cycle of everything.
No, it's never ending, and it always comes at the worst times. It's like, but
yeah. So just because I know you had mentioned this at Real Rooted, but how does Trent like being a star on Instagram now?
Let's just say he's not mad about it anymore.
Yeah.
He's actually like trying to contribute, because it might make me money someday.
Right.
So he's kind of okay with it. He just kind of rolls his eyes and goes on with it.
He goes along with it, whatever.
For the most part, yes. I know I didn't mention this before. I guess I should probably mention that. So Trent was in a wreck about 10 years ago now, close to 11 years. He's gonna hate me for telling. It's fine. So he's in a wreck. It took most of his eyesight. So he only has 20% vision in his left eye. So that just throws a whole nother dynamic into everything. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And I didn't want to say anything until you shared it, obviously.
I know.
But that was something when we at Rural Rooted, I know I keep talking about Rural Rooted. Oh my God, it was so great, but it really
I know, because it was amazing.
Yeah. And so when Moriah told us her story, it was like everyone was kind of like, wait, what did you just say? Like, that is a part of your life and you're doing all of these crazy things, which, not to take anything away from Trent in any way, shape, or form, because I know he's there helping you, teaching you, all of that kind of stuff. But the fact that you are even like the fact that you are able to do all of those things, and then there's also this, you call yourself his Seeing Eye Brunette, right?
That's what he told me.
Yeah.
That when we first kind of met and whatever, he was like, I guess you're my Seeing Eye Brunette now.
Yeah. It just,
and
your story and your family story is so inspiring. Just the fact that you guys do as much as you do and are successful at it, really.
Yeah. And I'm not going to take away either from the fact that we're so close to both our families. So we definitely, like, as far as like the kids, they are very helpful when it comes to late days bailing or late days this, and we could not do it by ourselves. But yeah, so when I met him, it's funny, I didn't even really know he was blind.
Yeah.
Because he just gets around so good.
Yeah.
And just kind of adapted to things. But we met, I was waitressing, and him and his grandpa used to come in and eat lunch and whatever. And I was like, why does he never, like, everybody talks to me? Like, I'm like the local waitress. What is it? Like, why is he not talking to me? And he never would look at me. And anyway, I quit my job and his grandpa offered me a job riding horses for him. And I was like, okay, cool. Cute farm boy down there. Like, right. Yeah, I could ride some horses.
Yeah, exactly.
And like 2 days in or 3 days in, I honestly, this part of our story is so blurred to me because we literally from that day on never spent a day apart.
Yeah.
And we were cleaning stalls out one day and he told me, and I was like, what? You're not, like, you're pulling my leg. Like, you're not blind. Like,
you're kidding. Like,
yeah, you're kidding. Like, I just saw you drive your Polaris Ranger down the road and like you went up a hill and like didn't hit the tree. Like, what?
Right.
And so yeah. And then the rest is history. But he's so inspiring. I was like, man, if he can do this the way that he is, like, I can do that. And then he just started teaching me everything from the passenger seat. Like, he said, all right, when you're pulling a trailer, like, I tore so much stuff up. It's not even funny. Like,
probably sometimes good he couldn't see it, right?
Right, exactly. And I'm like, how do you can't even see and you know how to do this? Like, oh my gosh. But that was back in the day. We didn't have the tractor with the little buddy seat. So we'd go out and field. Of course, I had to sit on his lap, and I was steering, and he was probably like, "Oh yeah, this is way better than me trying to run into stuff." But, oh man, so we've adapted though, and like in the past couple of years, we have 2 mowers, so he can see a little bit, but it's just very limited. So we have two mowers when we're cutting hay, and I'll go in front and he'll be behind me because he can see the tractor and he can see the line that he's following. Okay. That way, if there's a sinkhole or whatever, and I can see it, I'll mow all the way around it, and he'll just go around me. And it has its struggles.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But I'm sure when the cows are out in the middle of the night and somebody calls, he just looks at me, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Because he can't legally drive on them. unless they legally drive on the road, but
right.
probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah.
It's quite a fiasco sometimes.
Yeah, but you guys do it, and again, going back to you're doing it in your own way, and I think it makes it special and is gonna show your kids like you can literally do anything you want.
Yeah, literally. There's no limitations. Trent has never used his, we don't even like call it a disability because like he works harder than most people, like a lot of people that have all their eyes, like both their eyes.
No, totally. I mean, so, just even like, seeing him clip it in your stories and stuff, I'm like, dude, that guy can work circles around me and I can like, I have no reason not to be able to.
Right. And I think it's just, I've been trying, I told him, I said, people want to see this, like people need to see how we have adapted and learned and like just how you do things. And he remembers everything from, he's just, he works from memory and touch and, you know, sockets and things. Like obviously you can't see the sizes on the sockets, but he just feels around and it makes it work.
It's incredible.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is. Everybody has to get out of the way when he's driving the tractor though. He's usually pretty good, but
just in case.
Some things are just gotta say I have to do a lot of praying when we're out in the field somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother level of stress, right? Just to gotta worry about what you're doing, and then kind of just gotta keep an eye on that things over there.
Yeah. As well. Yeah. But it's kind of like reversed our goals a little bit, you know, how, because I see a lot of like the farm wives and stuff on Instagram, like, oh, I'm the professional gate getter or whatever. And I'm like, no, that's my husband.
Yep.
like
there are perks.
The right. Like I'm driving Mr. Daisy around and he's just we make it work though. And he never, like, we joke about it because what do you get? I mean, if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry. Like it's just he's adapted, and we have two beautiful little boys, and we haven't quite got around to explaining that to our 4-year-old, but
you know what though, it's not gonna matter to him, you know. It's that's gonna be dad, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he sees everything that he does now, and honestly, I can't wait till he can reach the pedals because I'll feel a lot better.
Yeah,
when he's with him.
Right.
They'll go down the road and Trent's like, all right, buddy, you see anybody coming? And I'm like, oh my gosh.
But it makes your family just such a team dynamic too, because y'all need each other, right? So. Yes,
we do. We all work together, and it's pretty wild. And we do there's an older man that does come help. So we could not do this by ourselves.
Yeah.
Or I say help, he works for us. He's retired, and he's been a huge blessing because I literally cannot do it. I need my own farm life, like to cook and do all the things.
An assistant.
I am dying. Yes. But it's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. We love it. I would not trade it for the world. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole lifestyle of things, right? It's really hard, but what else? I don't see any, like, what else would you do? You know what I mean? Like what?
Yeah.
There's nothing else that just sounds right. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing is just how hard people in agriculture work, going back to people are so disconnected. This job is way too hard to keep doing it if we didn't care. Like, I don't know if I said that right, but like, it's just a whole different stress, but it's also a whole different reward at the end of the day. And, you know, like losing a calf, that never gets easy, ever. But it's also just part of it. And the reward when you save one is 10 times better. I mean, people think farmers don't care, but it's just too hard not to.
Oh, yep, you have to. Otherwise, why do it? Exactly like you just said.
Yeah.
So my biggest question, are you freaking sponsored by Bud Light yet?
No, I should be drinking one right now, but it's like 9:30 here, so
right?
Not yet, and they will not. I keep tagging them, like, pick me. No, someday. Trent's like, today you get sponsored by Bud Light. I'm like, come on. Come on, give me some credit.
Right? I'm convinced it's gonna happen, and if not, I'm writing a nasty letter to whoever's in charge of their social media.
Oh my gosh, do it. You should do it anyway and be like,
I'm going
go.
Yeah, so at Real Rooted, just as like a side story, we had a photographer and she took amazing pictures of everybody.
Oh my gosh.
But all of a sudden, here comes Mariah, and I can't remember if you had a dress on or your overalls or whatever outfit you were in, and she's got Bud Lights in her hand, and she's like, okay, I'm ready. And like, that was it. Like, that was you, like in a nutshell. And the pictures turned out amazing.
She, she did so good. Cass, you're amazing. She captured everybody's pictures.
Yes.
We're just so each of us in a nutshell. Yes.
Yeah, it was
and I loved it, and you could see my double chin, but I was so happy.
Right.
Drinking my beer. I was just, everything was great. It was so much fun.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh.
Are you ready for our rapid fire questions?
Oh gosh. All right, let me get me some coffee.
Okay, let me they are very random, so bear with me. Okay, the first one is, and this is just perfect, but is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
Yeah. Yes it is.
Like, I read that one and I was like, oh, that's definitely got to be a Mariah question.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, if they don't like it now, like actual real, which I mean, they are all about fake meat, so maybe it's okay to them. I don't know. Maybe, well, it's just a fake zebra, so
yeah, it's okay. Shaped zebra.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Good grief.
Second question is, what is your favorite beverage?
Bud Light.
Also an obvious one.
Beer and coffee.
Yeah.
I do drink water. Just
water. Every once in a while, throw the body off.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, throw my body off. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh
man. And then the last one is, what is your favorite season?
That one's hard because farming has so many different seasons. I mean, cabin season and hay season. It's just, I love it. I love cabin season in the beginning, and by the end of it, I'm ready for hay season. And hay season, I love the beginning, and then probably about in the middle of hay season, I'm like, all right. Okay. It's time for some baby calves. Yeah. But that's one thing. I mean, farming is just so diverse, and there, like I said, it's never the same thing every day. And so it's just you don't ever get bored. No. You never get bored. So no. I don't know.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah. So yeah, calving and hay. I can't pick those two seasons.
That works. I'll accept your answer. Mariah, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This has been great. And if people are wanting to connect with you, what is the best way for them to do that?
Instagram, I just changed my handle, so it's Moriah G Hunter, right. And that's Moriah. Yes. But yeah, some people misspell that all the time, so.
Yes, a very unique way of spelling it. I like it.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm so white, so I get it. Yeah. Yours is a little different too. Yeah. Well, like I said, Mariah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy, crazy life to come and chat with me for a little while. And I know that your story is going to continue to inspire people, and we will all continue to watch for the clippets of Trent teaching you how to do things and your Bud Light experiences. Yes, I cannot wait to share all those things. Thank you so much for having me. I'm still like shaking. I'm like, oh, this is like crazy, but thank you so much, Allie. And it's so good to see your face again. I know, I've missed you. I know, we need a reunion.